Give me a point. Good morning. Hey, today is going to be awesome. It's Tuesday. It's 8:50 a.m. Like this video. Comment on it why you would want to win some Kevin Fowler meet and greet tickets this Saturday at Bayou Fest in Lamarck, and then share it out. And then we're going to be selecting a winner before Saturday. If you like country music, it's a family event. A lot of fun. There's going to be fireworks. There's like mutton busting and carnival
I love mutton
food.
busting. Mutton busting's the best.
Would you ever put your kids in that?
I would totally put my kids in that.
You know, somebody asked me, like, are your kids going to be participating? And they were like, well, here's the waiver. And I'm just like, I don't know if I have to sign a waiver.
I want
to watch other kids.
But they're what, like 2 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
And they gear them up pretty good. But I think at the end of the day, I think it's hilarious, especially the little kids that can really like grip, hold, and hold tight. So I think it's fun to watch.
Wow, you know, it just seems dangerous.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But at the end of the day, they bounce a lot better than we do.
Do you listen? Do you have time to listen to music? I feel like
I don't listen. I mean, I do listen to. I listen to stuff a lot. I mean, I have kids, right? So they don't always want to listen to the stuff I'm listening to. When I'm in the car by myself, I'm always like listening to an audio book or a podcast or so I do a lot of audio. My car's kind of like a mobile university.
Yeah,
it's got a multitude of different genres of study materials. When I'm on a treadmill in the morning, I typically put in alpha wave, brainwave type stuff to turn on my brain while I'm studying something, in written print, or sometimes I even listen to books on the stair thing.
Yeah,
and because I got limited amounts of time to download information into my head, and so entertaining music isn't always something I'm doing unless I'm with family.
Yeah, so maybe you share this video out, and I think you always do, and you'll win those Kevin Fowler tickets.
I mean, I would go to an entertaining event for sure. I mean, I'm all about being entertained myself when I can. It's just when I'm by myself, I'm typically listening to something that is educational, so I can always be developing and growing.
I've been jamming the Descendants 3, like the Disney TV movie Descendants 3
all
soundtrack.
All my kids listen to. Can we listen to Descendants?
And over.
Yeah, and so we're definitely, I'm like, what is this show we are listening to? Because I haven't actually seen it.
I had to watch, I've seen the first one and the third one because the third one just came out like in the summer, right, or something like that. And so the songs at first I was like, this is and then I actually had this conversation with my son. I was like, Kellen, when I first heard this song, I did not like it, and now it's like my jam. And I'm like, and he's like, Daddy, why are you dancing and like singing my music? But Disney did it again. Disney done did it again. Yeah, just one after another, cranking them out. It's 8:53. We got Dr. Chapa in studio. Again, here's another reminder. Go ahead and share this video out, and then comment if you would like to win some Kevin Fowler meet and greet tickets for this Saturday at Bayou Fest. It's in Lamarck, Highland Bayou Park. It's going to be a lot of fun, something for the entire family to do. And then I have something for you to do tonight. I already invited Dr. Chapa. He said he's going to try and be there. I think that it's going to be another amazing time. So tonight at Abundant Life, I'm inviting you, 7 o'clock, come here, prophet and guest minister Gustavo Paez. He's from Colombia, and it's something that I have never seen before, and I want you to be there. Come see me, come shake hands with Dr. Chapa. You can ask all your health questions there during the service, or you can just go get a healing from God as well. So I'll see you there tonight, 7 o'clock, Gustavo Paez, Dr. Chapa. I'm inviting you as well. Hopefully you'll be able to attend. There is childcare, so you can bring all your kids, hang out, and have a good time. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and get into this. I think we're going to be talking about acid reflux.
Yeah, we're going to be talking. This is Dr. Aaron Chapa, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. And I just wanted to say good morning to all. I'm so glad to be on KHEA Radio, and just encourage people. Every week we jump on the air to share a message of health and wellness and vitality to you, your family, and anybody that's listening that wants to be curious enough to change. This idea that we're stuck with the aging process and we're and whatever symptoms come along with it is just not true. There's quite a bit that we can do to change the way our bodies feel and change the way our bodies heal. And I think that we can slow down a lot of the accelerated aging that many people find themselves in if we just get to the underlying root of the issue. And a lot of times that comes from the things we put in our body. And so at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we're always giving people alternatives to drugs and surgery. We're always giving people alternatives to the lifestyle that they're in and helping them find, another layer of balance so that their body can age gracefully and heal very well. And so visit us at justlivewell.com or call us at 281-554-8600. But today, yes, we are talking about reflux, indigestion, and I'm just thankful to be able to share this with you because I think it's going to be an awesome discussion.
I agree. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. I'm Gardy. It's 8:56, and we have Dr. Aaron Chapa from Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center in studio. Dr. Chapa, are you doing as fine as frog hair this morning?
I am as fine as frog hair. Have you ever seen hair on a frog, Gardy?
I'm never, not even one time, not even one hair.
It's just because it's so fine, so fine. That's about how fine I'm doing.
Nice and smooth.
And it is absolutely a joy and delight to be on the air with you again. And I remember growing up as a kid, I would always go down and hang out at one of my neighbors' houses, and their dad would always say little, quirky sayings like this, and fine as frog hair, and he'd pick on us, and he would always rename us and give us nicknames. And he was hilarious. So I will say things, and I look back, and I'm like, where'd I get that? Oh, yeah. Thanks, Mike.
It's like dadisms,
yeah,
dad jokes or little quirk things.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of my dad-isms that I've carried forth into my youth into dadland.
Yeah, my mom, she'll buy me like books, just because, or like little gifts like Father's Day, and it's like dad jokes, and I'm like, Mom, I don't need these. Are like naturally coming out of me now that I've hit my age and I have kids. I don't need material, but I'm over there reading and studying.
Yeah, you always got to be fresh and sharp.
Yeah,
you never know when
you're
gonna have to elevate your game.
I don't want there to be funnier dads than me.
No way.
All right.
So today's reflux, indigestion. So if you've got symptoms of indigestion or reflux and you don't really know, what to do about it other than to take an antacid, definitely tune in because one of the things that we know is that 95% of the population is lacking in key nutrients, specifically zinc. And without adequate zinc levels, you cannot activate the chief cells to produce adequate amount of stomach acid. And without adequate amount of stomach acid, you'll see the ability of digestion in the stomach to start to decline, and we already skipped a key factor in digestion in our mouth first by chewing, but if you're putting proteins and big meals into your stomach and you don't have the stomach acids to break that food down, or the stomach acid pH is too high when it should be like a pH of about 2.4, then the sphincter that prevents backwash, if you will, the fluid in the stomach to go back up into the esophagus, will literally spit and spill up because there's activity and churning going on in the stomach. If that's and that little valve, it opens up because of two reasons: the pH is too high, or there's a lack of minerals in the body. So we can be minerally deficient and cause our production of acid levels to be altered, and we can have a lack of minerals that prevent the valves from closing appropriately in our reflux issues, and that could be another layer of causal link in the chain that's causing your problem. And so digestion is absolutely where we start with every case. 80% of everything that you see, everything that you deal with, anything that you suffer with yourself, it started in the GI tract. I can make a case that most infections that we get exposed to all come from something that we consumed via our stomach, and it penetrated into the lining and took root. And then the body starts to manifest other symptoms. GI trouble starts in the mouth, and then it pretty much stops right there in the stomach. If you can fix the stomach, you can fix a lot of problems downstream, because like we start our day right with a good breakfast. Well, good stomach digestion is like the root, the core, the best place where real digestion begins. And it's imperative for stomach acids to be where they need to be, or you're one of these people that are suffering. I think the statistic is more than 70% of the population has acid reflux and indigestion and takes some type of antacid, Rolaids, or Tums product. They almost pop it like a Tic Tac. You got bad breath or you got indigestion, I got an answer for both. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's what people are dealing with today.
So I guess I'm fortunate. I don't think I've ever had to deal with it. What are the symptoms? And maybe somebody's out there is dealing with it and they don't even realize it.
Absolutely. So the stomach indigestion, reflux, it's a feeling most of the time in your chest where you feel like constant need to burp or a constant like agitation behind the chest. Some people would describe it as, in an extreme case, breathing fire. And if you've never had it, it's really hard to appreciate like what people mean. Like, what do you mean of breathing fire? That just sounds really painful. But I remember just a couple years ago, I was in Dallas and went to a mid-morning brunch, and it was supposed to be like farm to table. And I think it was, but I don't typically eat a lot of grain products, and some of the stuff on the table was definitely like breaded and grain based. And I'm telling you, the 5-hour trip home was brutal. I had reflux and indigestion, and I didn't take my enzymes and my own digestive support that day. I remember Sunday morning, we just stopped in there, and we enjoyed a good mid-morning brunch. But then that 5-hour trip was my body trying to figure out how to break down all that bread and fried food that I had gotten into that morning. And I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm never going to do that again. So I'm real cautious about putting that in there. But typically, it's an uncomfortable sensation in the chest. And some people describe it as a burning, like right behind the chest bone, pretty much at the top of the stomach and the pyloric sphincter or the cardiac sphincter, or it's a regurgitation of burping where you feel sharp pains in your chest, and some people have even gone to the hospital over some of these sharp pains, and it was truly just indigestion. But it felt like a heart attack, or at least real close to the heart.
That's what Ashley just shared. She said, hey, I had to go and get it checked out, shoved a scope down my throat. They were monitoring everything and then found out that it was a mild case of reflux, that I refused the meds, felt silly for freaking out. I guess this is what happens whenever you hit your 30s.
I guess so.
Life changes, right?
I mean, and here's what's for sure. As we age, and they say right now that the average 65-year-old is pumping out 10 to 15% of the stomach acids they produced whenever they were in their 20s. And so if I would say I was talking about anti-aging, I would say, all right, well, anti-aging starts with the lining and the integrity of the GI tract. So if your lining of your GI tract is thin and fragile and frail and sensitive to the outside world, you're in a state of what we call accelerated aging. If the digestive tract is thick and hardy and it's sealed up tight, and you're not having these symptoms, you're more in the vitality and longevity buttons or circuit of life, where your body is performing better than if you had the other. And so, if one of my mentors, Bob Marshall, from a company called Premier Research Labs in Austin, Texas. He says that if there was one thing that you would support in the elderly population, it's take care of their stomach. And that could mean manually manipulating the stomach. I do a lot of visceral manipulation, and the stomach is always needing adjusting, if you will, like where we realign it and resituate it. Mm-hmm. And we find that's the case because of mineral deficiencies, and we find that's the case because they're eating the wrong foods. So we have to find the underlying cause of the problem, and it could be as simple, they need extra stomach acid support. So we use products like betaine HCl, or just straight betaine. And HCl stands for hydrochloric acid. And at Living Well, we always are looking for ways to assist the body through the aging process, because we know that you're not 18 anymore. It's kind of becomes a running joke that I'm getting older. And yeah, you are, but we can do it gracefully. And if you can then find, okay, there's inflammatory triggers. Every time I get into this, I notice this. And I find that happens with red meat. I find that happens with dairy products. I find this happens with gluten products or wheat products. And so I'm always helping people see, and this is what Living Well stands for, is helping you find the underlying cause of the disease processes that you're dealing with. And so that you can start having a better idea of where to go, what to do, and is there a better way than the current path that you're on? And I'm going to assuredly tell you, no doubt, there is. And I'm always amazed that people that have been suffering for ages with acid reflux, indigestion, that is the telltale sign that digestive lining is getting thin. And it's not just reflux they're dealing with. It's also costing them longevity and vitality in the long run.
So here's a text that I got from my wife. She said, I take Tums every night. And then she sent a heart eye emoji. I said, LOL, does it taste good or something? She said, I have the berry flavored ones. It's not bad, but when I'm pregnant, it helps with burping, nausea, and sour taste in my mouth when I lay down.
Yeah, so that is one of the other telltale signs and symptoms that we're not producing adequate stomach acids. And in her case, being young, it's due to a lack of minerals. And we've got to get zinc levels specifically up. Without adequate zinc levels in the body, which we use several products, zinc liver chelate, reacted zinc, and zinc, and zinc, another product. But without zinc, is not always easy to get up in the body in a therapeutic level. Just taking it alone, sometimes we have to mix it with other minerals because it synergizes with things like boron or things like manganese. And so if we can get the person's zinc levels to start to rise up, what happens is then they will start breaking down their food better because they're producing better acid in the stomach, and that stomach then can kill off pathogens that they're getting exposed to from the food they're eating, and digest the foods in the stomach that need to be broken down so that the bacteria in the small intestine have a better chance at handling them. So the symptoms that she's having is when you lay down, you feel that sour taste in your mouth. That's a valvular problem. Because the baby, how far is she along?
Baby's due in March.
Okay, so where she's at right now in the process, the organ systems are starting to shift, and her body, that stomach probably just needs to be realigned a little bit, and it's not a complex or painful procedure. It's very it's non-invasive, and it's just manually just working the stomach and ironing out some of its intricacies while there's a growth in her belly, so to speak. And then we'd come in and we would make sure that her reflexes for stomach acids and enzymes are intact. And if those reflexes, which you have two of them specifically, they're just below the sternum, at the base of your chest bone. To the left is the stomach acid reflex, and then just below the sternum to the right towards your liver is your enzymatic pancreatic enzyme reflex. And if these reflexes are off, we can sometimes rub them out. We can apply, a supplemental intake to help regulate those reflexes and make those systems work better. So they're kind of like little peeks into the system that we have access to in helping people that deal with this kind of thing. So if you're under 40 and you have reflux and digestion, it's something that you're eating. Wow. I mean, because it's typically unlikely that you don't have enough acid unless you have a mineral problem, which means, again, it's something you're not eating. You know what I mean? Because what you eat is important, but what you
don't eat
is more important all day long. So we want to always shoot for getting people onto the right food and then supplementing them correctly so that we get the enzymatic activity happening ready in the small intestine, that we get the stomach acids ready to break down whatever's coming down from the mouth that they're chewing.
Okay, I'm going to read a comment, and then there's another question. This one says, we found dairy was a huge no for me. Have not eaten it in a year, and the gut feels a lot better now. And I feel like that is
top reason that people come in to see me is digestion problems. Whether it's a child with belly pain or what, and I would say that these children don't know how to describe reflux, just like we're talking about it today. Children just say my belly hurts, or
right.
You know what I mean. So if you hear belly pain, it could be very well be reflux and indigestion. And I assure you, it's something that's being consumed. And wheat, dairy, corn, and soy, dairy bring at the top of my personal list whenever I'm looking at causes for inflammation in the digestive tract. You look at anything that's mucus forming, and that's dairy, and anything that can potentially slow down movement in the bowels will cause reflux and indigestion as a backup problem. And that's wheat, dairy, corn, and soy. All the 4 of those are your top, I'm going to slow down the bowels food. And if you put those in, some of these foods can slow down your digestive motility up to 35%. And so if you slow down, for example, stomach movement 35%, things that we don't want in our gut, like parasites or fungi or bacteria, have a more ample time to take residence, and things that are in there begin to ferment and percolate, which basically means irritate the GI tract. And that intestinal wall, that lining is, a single cell layer thick. I mean, it's and if those cells aren't healthy, or if there's a break in the chain between one cell to the next called enterocytes, those breaks in the chain create something that many people today are familiar with, at least. Maybe they don't quite understand it, but a leaky gut issue. And a leaky gut means that there is things, undigested proteins, undigested fats, undigested carbs that are, and pathogens, that would be bacteria, fungi, or parasites, that can penetrate across the GI tract lining and get into the blood supply, creating a massive amount of inflammation. And a lot of it is once you stop putting in these sluggish forming movement foods into the GI tract, they don't have time to take a residence, one, and then there's less irritation, two, and then the body is going to, be able to excrete what it doesn't need more effectively and assimilate the nutrition and the foundational chemistry that is needed from the foods that we are eating. And so dairy is absolutely, not our friend. It's very hard on the GI tract. I'm still puzzled why, so many people still consume the stuff. But I recognize that, I am one voice amongst, $1 million trillion industry. And I've just seen it in clinical practice over the 14 years that it's not a food for people to be consuming regularly.
Here's a comment and a question from Laura. She said, so is acid reflux different from that liquid burning sensation?
No, the symptom is basically the same cause. It's just your symptom versus somebody else's symptom. And that's the tricky thing about reflux, indigestion, is the symptom that you have for one person might be like a fire-breathing dragon. For you, it might be like a sharp pain in your chest. For somebody else, it might be just a very nauseating uncomfortability just below their diaphragm or their chest bone. And so some of that has to do with the stomach and its placement. And that also just has to do with where the substrate is or the substance is that's stuck in the stomach that's not getting digested well, and it's just in there just churning and fermenting and creating a gas pocket or a gas bubble. And but we have the ability to work with the valves on both the top and the bottom of the stomach, so that if those valves are not regulating open and close like they're supposed to, we can manually touch those valves and help those valve reflexes work more effectively. Non-invasive, by the way, it's just topical over your clothes. Even it's not hard. I mean, if a kid came to me and they had belly pain, I could turn them around and just come behind them and work with those reflexes and oftentimes remedy their problem. And a lot of times I find that when it is a stomach issue, I sometimes even have to go lower into the small intestine or even the lower, the first aspect of the large intestine in the cecum to fix the problem that was going on in the stomach. Because if there's a traffic jam, 4 miles ahead and we're at the back of the line, we also create another layer of challenge. So, and if, remember I've said in the past that the average American has between 10 and 15 meals, old meals, caked up inside of them. And so the things that they ate last night for dinner aren't necessarily the things that they are eliminating this morning, hopefully.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that? So we have Ian watching from Yorkshire in the UK.
Good morning. That's
I
awesome.
wonder what like the average person, not American, the average person who's not American, like even someone in the UK and Yorkshire, like if they are having those, you know, like 5 meals or 20 meals or what.
If we Google it, it's going to pull U.S. stats. I mean, you have them pull it and Google it and their stat bar and just see, average case of acid reflux and indigestion in the UK, because European market food even is different. Like if we're talking about the dairy, for example, in the United States, the FDA allows 750 million pus cells per liter of milk to be in your milk. You know what I mean? Pus, not good. Well, in the UK, it's 450. So there is a significant 300, point difference in pus cells available to us in the United States that they aren't available in their state. So we're welcoming pathogens to come down through the food supply, and most Americans, are eating cheese multiple times a day, every day, and the predominant blood type out there. And I'm not saying that if it's better for one blood type or another, but for sure, O-blooded people, which is the predominant of our culture here in the States, dairy is absolutely kryptonite, and meaning you shouldn't eat it. If it weakens Superman, you shouldn't put it in your body unless you like being weak.
Suffering.
So nobody likes suffering.
The FDA, that's regulated over the United States. So like I see my friend watching from California, so it's going to be the same there as it is here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And every, if we're just talking on that note, they pasteurize and homogenize it. And once they pasteurize it and homogenize it, it changes the molecular protein structure. I mean, it's not the same as if it came out of the bosom of a cow and that's what you drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so at this point, I just say no to all of it, because the body has seen enough of the pasteurized, homogenized, chemically altered. By the way, there's even hormones that they inject into these cows so that they produce enough for the country. You understand? I mean, it's not really normal for cows to be producing the amount of milk that they're able to produce in a day, a month, and or a year per cow, right? Unless there's some sort of altercation happening, hormones, for example. Well, one of these hormones that they pump into these animals is a very well-known cancer-causing hormone, and that is also transposed across those udders, and that's what is in our milk supply. I mean, so we wonder why we can't find a cure for cancer. We're doing things in our daily consumptive behaviors that is contributing to the problem as much as people are out there trying to find a cure for it, so to speak.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, you were trying to manage a disease process with pharmaceuticals and medicines that are caused by malnutrition. I mean, these diseases are just a malnourished body. People come in all the time and say, do you treat diseases? Do you treat and cure this? I say, no, I don't treat, cure, or diagnose anything in my office. What we do is we feed sick people. We feed those that are their bodies are malnourished. And we find that symptoms that are, that they're presenting with oftentimes go away with good nutritional guidance. Hey, let's start with just some good old-fashioned bacon and eggs for breakfast. There's a foreign thought. I don't have time. I can only eat a bowl of cereal. Okay, and we start changing that, and all of a sudden their morning changes. And so, especially the young people today, they do need more protein. They need to be consuming more of these abilities to develop amino acids because of their activity level. And then as we get older, we have to recognize that we're not 18 anymore. The things we could eat and the abundance that we could eat when we were 18 years old. I remember I went to one of those deli pizza joints and with the football team, and one of the guys ate 34 pieces of pizza in one setting.
Just to get started.
And
It's a little appetizer.
He was a linebacker. And I'm telling you, it was like eye-opening. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if I eat that much, I'd just I don't know if I'd be rolling out of here. And I remember one time my father-in-law and I were at the steakhouse in Florida, and it was an amazing steak. You could cut this thing with a fork. He ordered the 16-ounce whatever, I can't remember, but it had both sides, your T-bone side and your other ribeye side, I guess. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds and looks good. Why not? And I remember eating that, and I also remember not sleeping that night. It was like I had a brick in my stomach. There's nothing in anybody that needs to consume that amount of protein in one setting. But I mean, it sure seemed to taste good going down.
Yeah,
but
I could try.
I paid the price. On the flip side of that.
I just hate wasting food. Is all. That's the excuse I tell myself.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
So what I do now is I just I take digestive enzymes and stomach acids with me if I'm going to have a bigger meal or maybe a more rich based meal. And so we use things like I said, Zypan from Standard Process or Premier HCl from Premier Research Labs. Or D-Digest from Systemic Formulas. And we use these because they've proven themselves. I mean, they do a good service and work. And then from an enzyme perspective, we use things like Enzacor or from Standard Process as well. And it has, 6 different carbohydrate digesting enzymes to help break down stuff that we're eating. And it has glutamine in it, which, glutamine, if anybody knows me at all, a glutamine product of sorts is going to be coming into your nutritional plan. Because if I can seal and heal the GI tract, even if you don't break down food well, you're at least not going to allow these foreign proteins to penetrate across the gut-blood barrier in a way that can create inflammation. I'm going to restrict that access by sealing up those tight junctions. And I use glutamine to do that. And without your gut being the seal to the outside world, you're penetratable and now vulnerable to pathogens. And one of the major pathogens that affects acid reflux and digestion is Helicobacter pylori, or what people call H. pylori. And that can create, its own layer of side effects like reflux, but it's due to a bacterial infection. And we have to get in there and stir up, the tissues and help them recognize, hey, they got a foreign pathogen hiding out in their midst, and they got to kick it out. The healthy tissues are always on the lookout for the betterment and the synergizing effect of the system. And if the cells are sick, they're just less likely to care or less likely to, to respond when foreign pathogens, take residence. And so you wouldn't want to have a bad neighbor, that's tearing the neighborhood down in some way. Well, your cells don't want bad neighbors either. We want to, these cells regenerate themselves regularly, but if you don't have the right nutrition or you're feeding the body inflammatory foods that's causing more fire to happen compared to the amount of regeneration that's happening, then we're causing a decline to occur in the body's ability to digest. And stomach digestion is absolutely the first place we've got to look, either through just simply drinking more water. I think I've referenced the body's many cries for water many a time on our show. And this medical doctor literally goes around and is stunned, one, by the lack of water consumption that people bring in to their daily diet, and two, the impact water had on stomach digestion. And I'm be like, well, yeah, of course. Think about it. I mean, if you put enough water in, it's like power washing the intestinal tract. You're eroding away things that don't belong there. One. And two, if we don't have as much food caked up inside of us, there's less room for traffic jams, which then goes to a point that I like to make, that this is why intermittent fasting is such a powerful tool in today's modern world. When we eat so much processed food, we're giving people a 16-hour break from food to figure out how to digest whatever they ate in that 8-hour window they gave themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so intermittent fasting works today really well because we eat such a poor nutrition-based diet. And it's full of processed food. It's full of bad oils. It's full of fake make-believe ingredients. And if we eat make-believe food, the best we'll ever get.
Make-believe health.
That's right, brother. And so make-believe health is not what anybody's after. And if you have symptoms of reflux, indigestion, if you have belly pain in your children perspective, or if you're breathing fire, or if you're feeling to a point where you got sharp pains and you need to go in for a treatment, do you realize that I have had a number of people go in for the scopes and they find nothing, or they find a mild irritation and an ulceration that's causing it, but really then they're prescribed antacids. Well, the worst thing that we could do, the worst thing you could do is to put antacids in. And when you put those antacids in, you're suppressing the stomach's ability to digest. So no wonder now you've got a brick in your stomach that can literally cause sluggishness to occur, that can cause now an ulcer or some other intestinal irritation to develop. And so we have to stop the madness and putting antacids in, sometimes called proton pump inhibitors, PPIs. If you research on Google even has got this one right, PPI damage is huge problem. And we're putting these antacids in children that are under 3, that are some newborns that are getting antacid treatments because they're colicky, refluxy, and dealing with this. And I would say that it's the food, folks. It's the food. What you're feeding your kid. Oh, they're breastfed 100%. Okay, Mom, it's what you're eating. I know it's hard to believe, but just like the stuff, the hormones coming through the udder of a cow, you've got nutrition going through your body, coming around back through those mammary glands, and the baby is reacting negatively to the proteins that you're consuming. And I've seen too many times where I've had kids come in with earaches and infections in the throat, tonsillitis, or any type of issue with childhood diseases, and they were fully breastfed. And guess whose diet I changed? Not the baby's.
It's the mom's.
I changed mom's diet.
Yeah.
And reflux goes away. But if you sabotage the stomach acids in a child, we're not teaching and training that digestive tract to function like it's supposed to. We're making it dependent on drugs. We're making it dependent on other potential, pharmaceuticals coming down the way. And a lot of these drugs, some people will be like, oh, there's a need, there's a necessary. Yeah, in emergency medicine, there might be a need for a medication, right? But whenever it comes to well-being and wellness and nutrition, we've got to stop treating diseases that are malnourishment and start re-nourishing the body. And drugs will not ever be able to do that. And so, and especially in our children, especially in our elderly, we've got to enroll them in the idea that we've got to put better digestive parameters in. And so our children, it's about what they're eating, because typically they don't have the deficiencies that the elderly seemingly have, because they've been on the planet longer and they have accumulation of diseases building up in their body.
Here's a comment. This is from my wife. She said, that's so true. The doctor said River, who is our daughter, she's 2 years old now. The doctor said River, whenever she was a newborn, had newborn reflux. I don't know if she really did or not, but I modified my eating and it really helped her. She also has to sleep on an angle. And I guess, that helped as well. But, a lot of times it's difficult to do something for yourself, because it's just like, hey, I'm okay. It's my health. I know what I'm doing. But whenever there's people that count on you, like your kids,
will change.
That's different, and for me, I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, for me, whatever. But for my kids, yes.
Well, so it takes 3 generations to denature a biochemistry, okay? And so if we look back in the 1970s into the 80s, we see the food has drastically shifted. We went through the low-fat craze where people are afraid of fats, and now people are still confused about fats because, whatever magazine decides that they want us to look a certain way, and society and media says we're supposed to weigh a certain way, and all this different, thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so image becomes an issue, and somehow it makes sense to people that fat can cause, a body to be fat. Well, that's just not true. Without healthy fats in the body, you can't make healthy hormones. And without good digestion, you can't break those fats down in a healthy way. And I do tests in the office from a company called BrainSpan, and it's just it's one finger prick of blood. It's very simple, but and a cognitive test to go along with it. And it is fascinating the amount of information we can glean on people's, omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. If it's a 6-to-1, it's normal and healthy. The average is 17-to-1, and most people are 50 and above to 1. And so, which means that people are overeating the wrong fat. And so if we put the wrong nutrients in our body, it creates inflammation, and that inflammation then causes problems. So when a person goes on a diet like Whole30 or high metabolism diet or my detox diet, then all of a sudden what they start seeing is their lives begin to change for the better, just like your wife saw with the baby. And I think that's a powerful testament to the power of food. Food should be our medicine and our first line of integration of change when we're on a quest to get healthier or to find an answer to an underlying health biochemical problem.
Yeah. So right now it's 9:31. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. I'm Gardy. We got Dr. Aaron Chapa here in studio every Tuesday talking about health, nutrition, wellness. Today, the topic has been acid reflux, indigestion. There's something that you brought up, though, earlier when you were talking about cancer and MD Anderson. And I know there's a lot of people that have been affected or know somebody that has, whether that's a family member. I know there's things that you do. And the reason I wanted to bring it up again, there was a young man in studio yesterday, Braden Rivera. He's 8 years old. He's raising some funds and for MD Anderson, the research that they do. And, they do a lot of good work, and they're probably the best cancer research in the world, at least in the United States. And they're right here. Whenever it comes to the way you would treat a patient, whether that is in conjunction or a natural approach, what kind of stuff do you do whenever it comes to somebody that is dealing with that?
Extreme illness?
Like a protocol like cancer, what would you put on?
So you have to first look at how we're feeding the vessel, right? I mean, when we look at the body is cells that need a foundation of building blocks in order to replicate themselves and to function at a high level. And so when people come in with extreme disease cases and conditions, we're not looking at the condition or concerned as much about the disease state as we are about the nourishment of the body that's carrying the disease process. Does that make sense? And so we start with what we call foundational pillars. We look at the GI tract and we make sure that they are putting the right food in more than they're putting the wrong food in. And depending on, if cancer is the call and the person's not willing to make dietary changes, they don't really want an answer. They want a miracle. And I'm all about miracles, and I believe in miracles. But I also believe that, God gave us a brain and he expects us to use it. And so if we're potentially feeding cancer with sugar and we're not willing to stop, then there's either an educational problem there, or there's just a rebelliousness of I'm not up against my precipice enough to change, and I don't think that I see in any cancer protocols people talking about the importance of what we're feeding our bodies. As a matter of fact, it's very interesting to me. I don't want to be critical, but this is what I see is a lot of times I'll have cancer doctors tell my patients stop everything that I do, and I'm like, okay, well, did they tell you to stop eating? Because we're telling you to eat better. Like, we still have to feed you. You know what I mean? Like, cruciferous vegetables are good for you. Like, they help the liver detox, and it's really sad to me because a lot of the guys out there today, they're focused so much on the disease and forget that the body has its own tools and parameters if we can get enough of the nutritional density up, and that food matters. To tell a patient that food, it doesn't matter what they eat is not a good practice. We've got to be integrative, right? So if you're going to use both sides of the chain, you've got to look at the food that you're putting in as a fuel source. Food is medicine, and then you give yourself more of a fighting chance to overcome any situation through one, nourishment, and through two, a reduction of inflammatory processes that are going on in your body due to your old lifestyle. And so then we come in with herbs. We've come in with anti-infective support where we can help tear down other types of infections that are building in the body that the chemo and radiation, in my opinion, can't that aren't addressing. because a lot of the chemo and radiation by themselves just destroy the immune system, and they're hoping, that what comes back is a healthier immune system. But if we don't, again, have the right nutritional density and we allow other bacterium to develop and grow in the tissues, then I think the cancer is more likely to come back. And so when people come in with just a common cold and they're on an antibiotic, they have a 6 to 7 chance of getting a reoccurring infection within 6 weeks because they didn't teach them how to stop the progression of the feeding of the disease. So we've got to starve those little boogers out. And the easiest way to do that is to change lifestyle, change what you consume and put in your body. Start looking at, all right, well, how much soda do I drink compared to water do I drink? Look at how well am I digesting the food that I'm consuming. Do I have reflux? Do I have indigestion? Do I have, gas and bloating? Do I feel like I've got stinky gas or just lots of gas? Your body's communicating. For example, if you have stinky gas day in and day out, you're not digesting protein well. Well, the major place where you break down protein is in the stomach, and so we know that there's an upper GI issue. If you got the walking toots and you're walking around and it's just a lot of gas, you have a fermentation problem. You have a lack of enzymes, and so all my protocols revolve around GI support. And then we start finding, all right, well, where do we want to target the tissue? Is it in the breast? Is it in the lymphatics? Is it in the brain? Is it in the liver? Where is the cancer tissue? And then how can we best support the feeding of the tissue so that whenever the body under chemo and radiation come to, the nutritional building blocks are there. And if people do use natural therapies as an antidote alone, then they have a tool that can help suppress infection as well as bolster the immune system through just what the body's capabilities are. Nothing magical, nothing mystical, all just nourishment and biochemistry. The body needs food.
Yeah. Whenever people come into your office and you ask them questions or a questionnaire, do they often tell you the truth?
No. So no, of course not. I think that some of it is because they don't know how much information I really want, and because what they answer on paper and what they answer verbally are very different a lot of times. And some of it is, I have them fill out a lot of paperwork. If you look at my paperwork, it's pretty extensive because what they answer in the privacy of their own home when they take the time to fill out the paperwork, and then what they tell me in the office are oftentimes different. Because they have other things that are going on that day, that week, in the last 72 hours. And, they have symptom amnesia. They forget, a month ago that they filled out the paperwork and they were dealing with a whole new set of issues then. So I don't know if it's that they intentionally, don't fully tell the truth. But there's just...
Happens.
I think there's just... our perceptive realities of where we're at in any given space and time.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it because if it was on there like gas, bloating, it's like, yeah, maybe. Is it stinky? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, yeah, it probably, but just like some of those things, it's not the easiest thing to talk about, but those are all symptoms and there's a reason for that. And like you mentioned, well, if you are just like, bloated, it can mean this, and it's
That's right.
the upper GI. So
and
interesting.
And again, on the bloating conversation, it's not just a matter of enzymes. I mean, you could be bloated above the belly button because you have upper GI issues in the small intestine, or you have lower GI issues if it's below the belly button, and that means something. Yeah. So we encourage people to come into the office and ask, for a nutritional consult, because if you have somebody evaluate you that understands the body's many cries for help, you don't know what your tongue's supposed to look like, nor do you think you have a problem with your tongue.
Right.
But if I look at it, I can see hormone problems, yeast issues. I can see inflammation in the GI tract just by analyzing a tongue. And we can look at the skin and see where dryness resides, and what's causing that could be, a lack of essential fatty acids. And so, it's a matter of, have you been tested lately? Have you allowed somebody to look into into your case and figure out what other things could be going on other than high blood pressure, other than just the reflux. The reflux is the symptom. The high blood pressure is the symptom. The swelling of the ankles is a symptom that something else isn't working well. And so when we start looking at the bodies, whether they are seriously diseased, like cancers or autoimmunity, or these syndrome disorders that people are walking around with, or something that's simple, just as a ancillary, hey, I got a headache once a month, every time my cycle comes, or I have belly pain every week or all the time. No matter what the symptom is, it's uncomfortable for that person. So we never want to make light of anybody's situation, but it all stems back to the same. If you're willing to make dietary changes and get the inflammation down, that'll move your case forward faster. I always tell patients my job is to help support your imbalances so well that you don't want to eat junk food. Like you literally, it's as if I'm able to help you outperform your cravings for the inflammatory food substrates that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And that is true medicine to me. That is wellness in a true well-being plan of attack and helping people move forward.
Right now it's 9:41. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. Again, share this video out if you're watching on Facebook. Thank you for taking the time. There are a ton of people that can benefit from the information that we talk about here every Tuesday, every day, really. Also, whenever you share that out, if you are interested in winning some Kevin Fowler meet and greet passes for this Saturday at Bayou Fest in Lamarck, Texas at Highland Bayou Park, we're giving away a pair. Thank you to the city of Lamarck for offering that to us, and we want to pass it on to you. It's an opportunity for you to go jam some music and take the family out there. It's going to be a good time. But right now, we're talking to Dr. Aaron Chapa, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, just livewell.com. You can go and fill out some questionnaires as well, find the information to get a hold of him, and get your questions answered. I feel like that's one of the things that we really love to offer here, because people ask questions all the time, and we can just give them a real answer. So if you have any questions about anything going on, feel free to ask. And I'm going to read this comment from Ashley. She said, there's a foundation, a kids foundation, where they deliver organic juice with fruits and vegetables to children dealing with cancer. Unfortunately, in Houston, we aren't allowed to do it because of regulations, but they allow McDonald's and, some fast food and some other stuff that I guess is somehow regulated. They allow that.
Yeah, right. And so if we think about that, I mean, that's the weird place that we're in. We're okay putting food in the body that is loaded with what I call the 4 deadly food additives, partially hydrogenated oil, that will clog up and congest the liver. Well, if you congest any organ system in the body, you're going to wreak havoc upstream somewhere. And high fructose corn syrup or crystalline fructose, whatever name they're using these days, it's all the same, and it's highly, highly inflammatory to the body. And so it's not the ingredients matter. Like what you put in your body matters. And so when we restrict feeding the body's tissues, and people say, "Oh, juicing is not good because of this." Well, I can make a case for the opposite of where juicing has been an absolute saving grace for people that have gone through extreme conditions. And people that are willing to go through the process, the pain of that process, their health turns around drastically. And a lot of these people are now doing their own touring around the country, sharing their message of how they defeated their cancer and what worked for them. And some will, some won't. It's unfortunate those that won't, or it won't even take a look. I mean, I had a patient come in, and the uncle was fired up about the work that I did, but his wife was not, and the niece was not, and the niece's husband was just ignorant, just didn't know, and so he's just scared to death. He's about to lose his bride, and then of course the patient wasn't willing to make any changes, whether supplemental or dietary, and so you can only help people that are willing to participate in the game. And we've got to change the philosophy, and we've got to change our approach to, truly what you mentioned earlier, integrative, where we're actually working together with oncology or radiology. But it just hasn't happened. I mean, we're on 2 different continents, and we don't have radio communication or something. Like, there's just not there's a big disconnect in the masses.
If I have an issue, I'm going to treat it every way possible. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to believe for a miracle. I'm going to go to my doctor. I'm going to go change my diet. I'm going to do everything I can to find the solution. It just makes sense.
And I think that the Bible even talks about having many counselors. There's always a good answer or a good there's good to come from it. And I think the answer that I try to help people really recognize, no matter what they're dealing with, is make sure that the conclusion is yours and not somebody twisting your arm, or because you're trying to appease too many people. Remember, it's your life, it's your health, it's your choice, and you have to make the change. You have to make the call. And if you're a parent of a child, as hard as it is in some respects, to get kids to take supplements or to take nutrients, a lot of that again it's just familiarity. It's behavioral. You can't expect to isolate a child in your home to do a program if the family's not willing to rally around. So a lot of times I see the fastest improvement in results when parents and the child go on the same restrictive diets or changes in diet. Because I say restrictive loosely, I processed food restrictions, right?
Right.
Really, there's thousands of foods to eat and opportunities, and kids knowing that they can go to a church service and get a handful of donuts or some candy. They can go to school and they can get candy suckers handed out to them. They can go to their neighbor and get candy out of their junk drawer. I mean, anywhere a kid goes today, of course they're not going to eat vegetables, guys. I mean, who wants to educate that bitter palate whenever we have a sweet palate that's so enticing? It's the apple in the Garden of Eden. It's so enticing. I want what I'm not supposed to have, and bitters is another conversation to be had here. So we use things like a product called High Pep and Gastrex, and what these do is they're bitters. The bitter herbs, and they come in and they can help re-inoculate the stomach to produce healthy acid and prepare lower digestion, your small intestine, for absorption and further breakdown of tissues. And so you could go to a dinner out to eat and just ask for bitters and soda water from the bartender, and you don't need much, a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, and of bitters and a little, 4 ounces, 3 ounces of soda water, and you could drink that like a little cocktail. There's no alcohol in it, and those bitter herbs that are in there are enough to create production of stomach acids, preparing you for digestion. And so that would be better than taking an antacid on the backside of a meal, trying to deal with whatever you ate. It would be better to prepare your body for the meal and then make a good choice when you order the meal, so when it comes, you're ready for it and you're going to break it down well. And then recognize, other causes to reflux and indigestion are we eat too much. I know everything's bigger in Texas, but our plate should not be. Our plate should be as a normal serving of intake. So if you are eating abundantly at every meal and you're wondering why you've got high blood pressure, reflux, indigestion, bloating, gas, etc., then it's just you're the statistical average I'm speaking of that has 10 to 15 meals caked up inside of them. And when you have 10 to 15 meals caked up inside of you, you're not going to feel good. You're going to be sluggish. You're going to have mental clarity trouble. It's not going to just be reflux. So you might be thinking, well, I don't have the burning in my chest, but man, I sure as heck can't think past 10 a.m. Well, that could be because your elimination pathways are clogged up or sluggish, and we need to do a mini bowel cleanse, lower GI cleansing, in order to affect the aspect of the upper GI problem. And that's a lot of times what happens with the children and people under 50 is they have lower bowel clogged up, colon, dirty bowel syndrome, I like to call it, and that's what's creating their trouble. And so when we start changing their diet and increasing the speed at which their digestive tract moves, and then we start putting better quality nutrients in, we start seeing that their symptoms just melt away fairly effortlessly. And I think that's pretty remarkable and miraculous in and of itself, because the body wants to be awesome, guys. The body wants to heal, and we just got to give it the right environment to do so. And that's what Living Well does, is we give you the parameters and the education to make those changes.
You know, one thing that I feel like us as Americans, just as a society, we don't take a preventative approach. It's always the reactive. You wait till there's an issue, and then you try and what's the miracle pill, right?
Yeah, because you're suffering. It's 10 o'clock at night. You want to go to bed because everybody else is asleep, but you're over there dying.
And so you take the anti-indigestion medicine, right?
That's right, because that would make sense. And the reality is when you look at your meal plan for the day, if you are eating throughout the day and you're not a part of the intermittent fasting world, we should be eating like a king or queen for breakfast. We should be eating like a prince or a princess for lunch, and we should eat like a beggar for dinner. You should eat lighter as the day goes on, and so that your body is more prepared for what you're about to do when you go to sleep. When you go to sleep, your brain is 10 times more active than when you are awake. And so all that blood flow needs to be amped up and ready to bathe the brain, nourish the brain, and to keep up with the brain activity while you're asleep. So if you just ate a 10-ounce steak or an 8-ounce steak, and I'm not picking on beef. It could be pork chop. It could be whatever. But you just overindulged, a 7-course meal or just multiple helpings of a meal, and then you go to bed inside of an hour or two. You're not giving your body ample time to digest the food that you just put in and do your brain work during the night. And I think that's why we start seeing a lot of these symptoms all start to just overlap and integrate into one another, because the tissues can't keep up with digestion, and their ability to do and work is altered whenever it's trying to break down a big old hefty meal.
Yeah, one thing that you have told me is whenever you are on a strict nutritional plan, reintroduce one thing at a time. And sometimes it's like, a lot of people will call it cheat day, or I'm gonna indulge on a meal,
Yeah.
You just take everything. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna have the dairy, I'm gonna have the grains, I'm gonna have chocolate.
I might not ever get it again.
Everything, right? And then the next day, wake up, feel like trash, garbage, and be like, oh, but it could be one thing in there that's actually triggering that.
That's right.
And you just don't know.
And you don't know. And so when I put people on elimination diets, it's a free test that we do, but it's the most accurate food allergy test, which is called food elimination. And so we take people off of food allergens that are most common. People go, oh, I'm allergic to cucumbers. I'm allergic to, garlic. I'm allergic to onions. I'm allergic to avocado, somebody told me one time. And I look and I go, okay, these are foods that aren't even in the top 50 on average for the country. And so I'm like, okay, no problem. I look at it like Stephen Covey talks about the big rocks first. In this case, I'm going to take the big rocks out first. And so if the big impact for the body is every time they get into wheat, dairy, corn, or soy, they get a response. If I take those away, I'm giving their body grace to handle whatever inflammatory, trigger they are getting from the cucumber, the avocado, the onion, or the garlic. And some people have a true anaphylaxis, right, where they eat something like a peanut and their throat closes up. I'm not talking about that food allergy, by the way. I should reframe what I said to food intolerance, where they're eating foods that their body is intolerant to. They're not able to break it down well, and so it creates more of what we call an inflammatory response in the body. And so when we take out those foods and then add it back one at a time, all of a sudden we can see inside of a 3-day window, every time I get into the dairy, I feel this. Every time I get into the chocolate, I get a rash. Every time I get into, corn, I see, in one case, just thinking about seizure, every time we've done these activities, there are some people that have a very obvious inflammatory reaction, and then some people that have a intolerance of inflammation that is a burden, but not so obvious that they're willing to just throw it out, or they don't recognize it to be a problem. But if I can get them to take it out long enough, their body will heal in ways that it couldn't before because it was handcuffed from the inflammatory trigger that they were putting in.
Wow. That's crazy to think about, and I recently finished I did like another 28-day thing. And so I've been like reintroducing, and I've been guilty of just like, well, I'll take some cheese and some grain, but I don't know. But I feel okay. And I'm not really that big a fan of like certain things that may cause some of those reactions and stuff. So.
Well, I think too, like you're learning, you're starting to appreciate that food actually might have a play in how well you perform in life.
Right.
And I think that if we could get that message out to the world, and that is what Living Well is all about, is helping you recognize that you're in more control. An ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure. Let's start today in helping you build a nutrition plan that will help you run the longevity race you're after. If you want to be fully functional in spirit, mind, and body like I do to 125, I'm going to have to start making choices today so that whenever my body does decline at a more rapid speed, maybe I won't be the average statistic in having a 5 to 15% stomach acid production in my 60s. Maybe it'll be 95 when my stomach acid production goes down, or maybe I'll never see a dip in my body, maintain that throughout the longevity of my life, and I'm able to go fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. I don't have to die a miserable, suffering, mentally declined death. I can be fully functional in all aspects of life. And maybe I'm not gobbling down pizzas or eating all the wonderful delicacies of the world. And some people, give me the snarky comments. They want to eat what they want and not be restricted in any way. But okay, when it comes right down to it, if food mattered, would you be willing to change? And everybody would say, okay, well, yeah, of course. If I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt it mattered. And I think that that's where the miseducation's coming in, and why we're such an advocate for being on the show and sharing a message with people at our monthly lectures and teaching people about how to integrate wellness into their lifestyle. Because if we can get more people to eat well, live well, choose life well, and understand why they're doing it, then they realize that it's just like, how often do you take care of your teeth? Every 6 months. Well, what if you need it? What if you meet it quarterly? Well, hopefully your hygienist or your dentist would help educate you to, well, the statistical average is this, and that's so that we can check on this. But you need to be here every 3 months because of your situation. So, and that's what we do for people, is we're directing people's wellness plan according to their goal sheet. I had a guy come in one time. He was a golfer. He was in his late 60s. He retired and said, I don't really want what you offer, but I don't want to not be here. I just want to be, a part of the office at a distance. I'm like, hey, no problem. What do you want? Because if I'm willing to walk with a person patiently at their gradient, what winds up happening is they begin to evolve under care to think more like I want them to over time. It's just like what the old saying, if it's just like Novocaine, just give it a little time. It works, always works. And in my case, I'd use Proenzyme. Just give it time. It always works.
Yeah.
And Living Well really stands behind this idea of giving people alternatives to drugs and surgery and a lot of education. Because I know that when you walk out of my office or you get you get onto the next radio station, you forget easily what you learned this morning. And we want you to know that it doesn't matter what symptom pattern you have or what diagnostic disease you've been named. We want to give you answers to those problems, and we want to teach you why your body has those issues and what you can do to fix them. And we believe that all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition's the fundamental backbone that allows your body to spiral out of control or to get traction and move forward in a really powerful way. And so, life is in the power of your choices, and it is your life, your health, and your choice, and we want you to make the best of it. We don't necessarily need you to be perfect. We just need you to be after it, working continually on a better way of living. And so, I just want to take a quick moment just to say, thank you to KHEA Radio for letting Living Well partner with you guys. Living Well loves serving in the community in any way we can. Our website's justlivewell.com. Our phone number is 281-554 8600. And then just a reminder, we do have our Let's Talk Sugar Talk coming up October 24th. It's going to be a fantastic discussion around food and around the impact sugar has on our body. And so we invite you to come to Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center in League City and just call our office again, 281-554-8600 for details. And then we also have our Mommy Meetup October 21st at Walter Hall Park from 9 to 11 a.m. And so if you're available and you're a mom, Gardy, make sure
Not allowed. Okay.
that you come and hang out and, just integrate with other families that have children that are trying to figure out where we can build, a healthy plan into a very busy world that we're all living. So, as usual, thanks for letting me be on the show. God bless everybody. I hope that you have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week.
Stay tuned, because coming up next, we have Mayor Bobby Hocking. We're going to be talking about Lamarck Bayou Fest taking place in Highland Bayou Park. We're also giving away some Kevin Fowler meet and greet passes for this Saturday at Bayou Fest. So if you're watching on social media, share this video out. Leave a comment. Let me know, why do you want to win these meet and greet passes? And then go ahead and share it. It's KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Coming up next is Elevation Worship. The song's called I Can't Believe. Thank you, Dr. Chapa.
I'm thinking, I wonder if I could get closer to the red on that target.
On the axe.
Yeah.
If you can't see, well, you can't see what he's talking about because there's no camera shot there, but there's an axe throwing thing over there. And
Yeah.
Dr. Chopper, you need to go throw some axes, man.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that.
Let's make this happen.
And see if
Shout out to Axe Masters, one of our partners here at KHEA.
Awesome.
I'm going to share this into Taco Lamarck. So I'm going to say Mayor is in studio.
Did you say Taco Lamarck?
Giving away Kevin Fowler.
It's a pleasure to be with you all.
Thank you, Dr. Chopper. Hey, hopefully I see you tonight at Gustavo Paez.
I put it on my wife's text, so her and I will.
Okay.
And you said as long as we can bring kids, I don't see why.
Oh, yes.
So
Crystal will take care of him.
What's his last name?
Paez. Gustavo Paez. He will be at Abundant Life tonight, so make sure that you come out. If you have any questions or thoughts for me about that service, I will get those answered for you. If I don't know the answer, which I would not be surprised if I did not, I will be able to try and find the answer out for you. So, again, I'm going to share this into the other Lamarck group. So I'm going to say giving away Kevin Fowler meet and greet for Bayou Fest. Talking to Mayor Hocking. Good morning, Mayor.
Morning.
How's it going?
Wonderful. Couldn't be better.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So the city of Lamarck has been very busy. There's so many good things going on. And then there is the events of all events, I'm going to call it, whenever it comes to the city of Lamarck and some cool things. That's taking place this Saturday. We're ready.
I'm ready.
So Lamarck Bayou Fest, this has been going on for quite some time, and it's just getting better and better every year. What can we expect for Saturday?
Well, first of all, I don't have any headphones going.
Yeah, the thing I need to get it looked at. It just started yesterday.
Yeah.
That's what Dr. Chapa was like, hey, it's kind of good. You don't have to wear them.
I'm good.
Okay. So what can we expect for this Saturday?
Well, first of all, we can expect about 82 degrees and sun, which is always an answered prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to be an awesome event. This will be my number 8, I believe. And when we first started, we had 12 cook-off teams, which is not a bad start.
That's
I think
great.
You guys had 12, right?
For Taco Cook-Off, yeah.
Yeah. I heard that was awesome.
It was
Congratulations.
fun. Thank you.
And then I just got a text on the way here that we have 125 signed up. So we've come a long way in these 8 years. And so we're excited about that. We're excited about the music. We're just so excited. And now my prayer life always escalates prior to BioFest because I pray over the weather.
Mm-hmm.
I pray every day as a man of God, but certainly pray over the weather for BioFest because last year, as you realize, we had Mudfest. But, standing on stage, looking out at 15,000 people standing in a misting rain listening to Clay Walker, shows what kind of loyal following he has.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good man.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and get this going on the FM as well. If you're watching on Facebook, share this out. The city of Lamarck and Bayou Fest, Mayor Hocking and the entire city was very fortunate to us. We're going to bless you. We're going to pass these meet and greet for Kevin Fowler tickets on to you. If you comment, let me know. Are you going to Lamarck Bayou Fest? And are you interested in meeting Kevin Fowler? That's a big deal. It's KHEA. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now, it's 10:05. I'm Gardy, and I am very fortunate to be sitting down with Mayor Bobby Hocking. Mayor Bobby Hocking. How you doing, sir?
Great. Awesome.
Everything's going good, huh?
Excited.
You know, there has been a lot of prayer, we just found out with our Facebook audience, for the weather this Saturday, which we believe is going to be awesome. What can people expect Saturday? If they're in the area, where should they be at?
Well, Highland Bayou Park, obviously, is exit 10 off the Gulf Freeway south. You turn by Ron Hoover and head in that way. Starts about 8:30 with a kids' fishing tournament. And I think we had 140 or so kids fishing last year. The report was they had 44 redfish, several trout, and then one kid even caught a bass, like a freshwater bass, which is kind of cool. I guess somebody had dumped it in there, or somehow a bird dropped a baby bass. I don't know. But
yeah.
There it was. And so we have that going on. And then, of course, there are kids' activities all day. We have bouncy houses, a train ride. I think the Cougarettes are going to come and do some routines. The cook-off is Friday night. They do their own thing. And then Saturday is the actual Triple Crown barbecue cook-off. Once again, we have 125 teams. It's more than we've ever had. Music starts at 4:30 with Shiny Ribs, and if you've never Googled up Shiny Ribs, they're awesome. I mean, they're a kind of a funky, it's hard to describe them really, but they're very, very good. They're a horn band. Mm-hmm. They're like a real funky Chicago or Tower of Power or one of those type groups. I'm dating myself, but you know what I'm saying. Dave Matthews with horns.
Okay,
that's
okay.
Even dating
I got
myself.
you. Got Dave Matthews horns.
Yeah, that probably doesn't help half your audience, but yeah, they're awesome. And then, of course, Kevin Fowler in the middle slot always does a great show. And then Clay Walker, of course, headlining, followed by the largest and best fireworks display in Galveston County in the fall, because it's the only one in the fall. But it is awesome, and Amico Credit Union does that for us.
Yeah, they've done that the past couple of years, right?
They've done it for like 7 or 8 years, and they say as long as we keep going and I'm the mayor, Sean Bailey continues to support that.
Yeah,
that's where vote for me in 2021, and you'll still get fireworks. Yeah,
yeah. I had the opportunity to meet with some of the people at Amico the other day, and that's where I've had that credit union. I looked it up. It was like 16 years. You know, my parents like bought our house. You know, my childhood house over there with Amico. So shout out to them. They do a lot for the community, and I see them out all the time. You know, their communications department is busy. Like, I think I'm busy, and I'm like following them. Like, man, they're on it. So they're always giving back to the community every way that they can. So it's really cool.
Love them.
Really cool.
We have a lot of supporters. Our biggest support of BioFest is, of course, our waste hauling company, Waste Management. That's Shanna Martin Lopez, who is just an awesome person, and they are our main sponsor. That's written into their contract that they give so much money to BioFest, and then they give an additional large amount of money to our youth programs, mm-hmm. which we're getting ready to distribute to several entities, 501c3 entities that embrace youth and help youth, and we're very excited about that as well.
Yeah, and that's really important.
Are you going to give away something?
As far as
like meet and greet passes?
Oh, yeah, we're giving away Kevin Fowler meet and greets.
Because I have 2 pairs of VIP tickets that I want to give away as well.
Okay, all right.
And our VIP experience, sponsored by Miller Lite.
Uh-huh.
Sorry to say that in church, Pastor, but hey, it's what it is.
It's on the ticket.
Yeah. And that entitles you to park right by the VIP place, and you get a couple of beverages, and then Pit Stop is catering our meal every year. And so you get a full-blown, all-you-can-eat barbecue deal, and
Yeah.
you get to sit in the VIP tent. There's a special section up front of the crowd where you can hang out, and it's just really neat. So I'm going to do that whenever you'd like me to.
All right. So, hey, guess what? Not only are we doing meet and greet, but then we're going to be giving away another pair of VIP passes. So if you're interested in those, again, comment on this video. Let us know why you should be the winner. Make sure that you share this video out and just follow along. But, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Hawking. That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a trivia question that go along with the first two passes.
Okay.
And that is, what is Clay Walker famous for other than singing?
Clay Walker. I only know him as a musician.
Right.
Interesting.
It is. You have an interesting look on your face. Are you going to try to win the passes? Because I'll give you a couple.
I think that he probably, so it's other than music at all.
Right.
Okay. Because I was going to say maybe he was like in a church band or something, but that would still count as music. So
Yeah.
Let me see. I bet that he was a teacher. A famous teacher. I don't know if those exist, but I don't know.
Not even close.
Not even close.
But yeah, but you're not playing.
Okay. All right. This Saturday, Lamarck Bayou Fest. If you have an idea, what is Clay Walker known for, famous for, other than singing?
Yes.
Let us know in the comments. And I see some people that are following along saying like, hey, I want those VIP passes and those tickets. Someone said, hey, I want to meet somebody famous. I want to meet Kevin Fowler. That's from Heather. So keep those going. Yeah, we want to make sure we get those given away to you. Hey, good morning, Tink. Mr. Tink Jackson, the city manager. You know, how are things in the city of Lamarck? I see there's a lot of activity going, a lot of positivity coming out. What are y'all working on right now other than Bayou Fest, which I know has taken up a lot of time, but what's going on?
Well, of course, you had Mr. Jackson in talking about our budget.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting ready to redo our wastewater and sewer plant. Our water and wastewater plant, excuse me. We're doing a lot of infrastructure improvements for drainage. Whole lot of stuff going on. And one of the main reasons for that is Tink Jackson is a rock star. He has come in here with just blazing with innovation and vision, and he's made my job a whole lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
He is definitely a man of vision and a man of purpose. And I'm not just saying that because he just tuned in. I was going to say that anyway because it's a fact. And I think everybody in Lamarck realizes that. Even people who are not necessarily always gung-ho and giddy and rainbow and glitter over everything we do. And, of course, citizens shouldn't march in lockstep. Everyone has a different idea of what they feel needs to happen. And so all people from all spectrums in all parts of the city are embracing what the council and what Mr. Jackson is proposing and envisioning for Lamarck. And it's just very, very exciting. Lamarck is prospering. We have a surplus. We're getting ready to do about $4 million in new roads. Lamarck is just doing really well right now.
Yeah, you know, whenever it comes to, you know, positive vision, success, there's a lot of moving parts because everybody probably has a vision, you know, and then kind of getting that narrowed down so everybody's working on the same goal, you know, is very important. I feel like y'all are doing a great job, you know, moving forward. Yeah. There's a lot of positive things. Hey, and so we have some at least one answer right now. And my wife texted me too and said, was he an actor? I don't know. And then here's another one. Clay Walker has an MS and has received a humanitarian award for his charity work. Is that something it would be?
That actor, maybe. Humanitarian award for MS. He definitely does that, but those are not the correct answers.
Okay, got you. So keep them coming. I say keep doing some multiple guesses or answers, and let's get those get that answer because I'm curious as well. Right now it's 10:14. This is KHEA Radio.com, 99.5 FM. We're on channel 46.2. So if you're watching on television and you are looking for something fun to do, come to Lamarck Bayou Fest this weekend. Exit 10 on I-45 South on the way to Galveston, and you will not be disappointed. There's something for everybody to do. Why is it so important for Bayou Fest to be family friendly? Because there's literally something from, little kids all the way up to, grandma. Everybody has something to do.
Yeah. Or like me, grandpa.
Is your whole family going to be there?
Oh, yeah, every year. My grandkids think this is like the kids that were at Woodstock back in '69. This is a big deal for them. Mm-hmm. And my wife has some old, even elementary friends that found out about it early on, and they come and they get to fellowship with her after all these years. In fact, her first friend and neighbor ever, Fran Linton, comes, her and her husband. He's a professional photographer. So some of the pictures you see of me singing on stage, he's taken those from like 100 yards away, and they're like, he's right there.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, his specialty is he does golf courses.
Okay.
So he goes to the Masters and different places and photographs their golf course.
You are going to be, I believe, like emceeing the event because you've done that, in years past as well. Mm-hmm. And you have the opportunity sometimes to sing because you're one of the the most talented singers, I guess, to come out of Lamarck probably ever. Is that fair to say? Well,
I appreciate the compliment. There's a whole lot of real good singers in Southeast Texas. Pee Wee Bowen came from Lamarck, and of course he's awesome. And I have been able to sing each year. I don't know that I will this year because I'm not that familiar with Shiny Ribs. And they know who I am and they know what I used to do, but, I'm not going to barge in. And, that's not my style. If somebody wants me to sing, I'll sing, but I'm not going to, be pushy about it.
Okay. Well, maybe.
But you don't need a band to sing. If I have a mic, I could sing a gospel song a cappella if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because, hey, it's our show.
That's right. Well, we'll start a chant. I'll be like in the back. I'll be like the 15,000 person like in the back, like watching. And I'm going to be like, and I'll start a chant. So we'll get something going.
Cool.
Okay, here's another guest. This is from Miss Susan Leaning. She said a rodeo cowboy.
You are correct.
Hey, Miss Leaning.
He came in 8th in the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo as a cutting horse person,
wow.
Which is a big deal. That's a big rodeo.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Miss Leaning, so she wins the 2 VIP?
Yes.
The 2 VIP passes. So make sure that you send a message to me and I guess like email or what's the best way?
You could go by the EDC building at 1130 First Street in Lamarck. That's the corner of Laurel and First. And show your identification to Miss Marcia up front. And Colleen will have that arranged for you to pick up those 2 passes.
All right.
And I'm going to do another one before I go, so we'll keep this going all day, hopefully.
Awesome. So congratulations to you.
I may give away 6.
Or
8.
Let's go. Who else is interested in winning some VIP passes to Bayou Fest this weekend? And we already talked about what that all entails. Can we go through it one more time? You had me at Texas Pit Stop Barbecue Catering, like buffet back there.
Yeah, it's a Miller Lite experience. It's this year the tent. It used to be over by the stage area, but last year it got kind of muddy and crowded and congested, and so Colleen came up with the wonderful idea of putting it on the basketball courts. So this year you'll have actually a hard floor. Although we expect the weather to be great, you'll have a hard floor. And only VIP people can come in. It also means, weather permitting, you get to park at the park. However, the shuttles that are running from Gulf Greyhound Park are actually dropping off right at the door of the VIP tent. So if I was a VIPer, I'd go ride the free shuttle, Galveston Limousine shuttle, air-conditioned, first class, ADA equipped. And let it drop me off right at the VIP door, and then after the concert, hop back on and go back to your car. So Gulf Greyhound parking is a tremendous blessing. Last year, we had to do it at the last minute because of the weather. This year, we pre-planned to make it convenient for people to do so.
You know, I'm planning on getting there about 10 o'clock because I want to catch a little bit of everything, like the end of the fishing tournament, the mutton busting, all of the fall carnival stuff. But I'm planning on leaving and coming back just so I can ride that free shuttle because I heard a lot of good things about it, and it seems like it would be fun.
Yeah.
I want to get some, like we were talking about getting some footage of just like the experience of the people, like the excitement, and then pulling up and just all of it that entails. So
you're bringing your camera and all that?
Yes.
Awesome. So do you have all access passes?
You know, if I can get one of these trivia questions right, that's my hope.
Well, all access is different from VIP.
Okay.
All access means you can go anywhere and be anybody.
Well, I've been begging Colleen, and so she was just like, I don't know, Gardy, let me see what I can do. And we met with her yesterday to kind of go over everything, and I think we might, but she was just saying, like, let me wait till, like, Wednesday or Thursday, and we'll, get everything smoothed over, because she's been doing a great job promoting the city in general and this event.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the story about the chief hog of the trough?
I would love to hear it. I haven't heard that one.
Well, if you are to receive all access passes, you're talking to the chief hog of the trough.
Ah, okay.
How that came about was there was a couple on vacation in, I believe it was somewhere outside of Palm Springs. It was in Palm Springs. This guy and his wife, and they're a couple of rich hillbillies, excuse my terminology, from Arkansas. And they were driving around Palm Springs, and they saw this sign. And the sign had one of the old-fashioned thermometers on it to show how much money the church was raising to build a new building. And they decided, they just felt like in their heart they needed to give towards this building deal. So they walk inside the church, and they go through the front door person, and the pastor's secretary comes out to greet them. And the old guy says, hey, yeah, I want to talk to the chief hog of the trough. And she's like, excuse me? And he says, yeah, I want to talk to the chief hog of the trough. Because Arkansas is like known for Razorbacks. And she said, sir, if you're referring to our pastor in that manner, we normally don't describe him in such a way. He said, oh, well, it's okay. He said, my wife and I saw your thermometer and your building program, and the Lord told us to come in here and give you $50,000 towards the project. And she looks down the hall and says, just a minute, sir, I think I see the big pig coming now. So that's how that started. And so in Lamarck, I'm the chief hog of the trough. So if I decide to give you an all-access pass, that's the way it's going to be. Sorry, Colleen.
All right. Hey, that's awesome. I was wondering because you're just like, well, I got 2. Maybe I'll give away 4. Maybe I'll get 6. And I see there's a lot of people that are saying, I want all access. I need all access. The VIP.
You're not going to get all access, period. But you can be a VIP.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite part about the entire event?
Seeing families having a good time together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these are families that are from Lamarck, and there's people that come from not just Lamarck, from all over.
We have people coming from far east Texas, from out of state. Really, the event has become so well known that people plan, even their fall break trip or whatever around coming to BioFest.
Yeah.
And so we use some hotel motel tax to fund it. This is not taxpayer funded.
Mm-hmm.
We use no general funds for this. It's all donations and hotel motel tax. And the caveat for using hotel motel tax for any event is that it brings what they call, it puts heads in beds. In other words, people come from out of town and either stay in a hotel or shop and buy ice and food and whatever. And so that's how it qualifies for that. So no taxpayer money has ever been used for BioFest, which is a beautiful thing,
mm-hmm.
Because people get to experience it, and nobody's really having to come out of their pocket for it.
Yeah,
so.
And then if people are coming from East Texas, they may be staying in that hotel or the motel,
sure.
just kind of replenishing it as well.
Sure.
And then I guess, there's an RV park there. Do some people stay? They probably come from out of town and plan on staying close to the site or on site.
They do. There's 2 RV parks now. Actually, there's one on Maxwell, and then, of course, Ron Hoover there on the corner, and I'm sure those spaces are available for the weekend.
Yeah, that's kind of the smart way to do it. Enjoy the fireworks, stay out, and have a good time. You know, it's on a Saturday. The weather's going to be good. It's taking place this Saturday, and I think everything starts at 8:30 in the morning. And, you know, you mentioned the kids' fishing tournament. What kind of cost is there for the kids to participate in that?
I don't think there is a cost. I think we provide the fishing poles and the bait. Boyd's bait service, bait and tackle, provides that. I think the Lions Club donate the goodie bags for that, and it's just all free. Everything at BioFest is free except if the kids want to ride, or adults want to ride the rides. It's $5 for all day. Mm-hmm. You get a wristband, and so your kids can just ride to their heart's content. I think there's I can't remember the name of it, but it's like the thing that people get in and they go down a rope in the jungle. What's that called?
Like a Tarzan thing? Like a Tarzan, like
there's a name for it. Zip line.
Oh, zip line.
There's a zip line for children. It's
wow.
Extremely. Yeah. Thank you for helping us. For kids, that's real safe, and they land on a bouncy deal. It's really neat. So, and then there's Stan, the train man.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. You get to ride the train around, and
that's cool. I think I've seen the train go around. What about mutton busting? Have you? I enjoy watching it. Someone was asking me, like, would you put your kids? I was like, I don't know if I put my kids in there, but I like watching other kids. But it's a fun time.
It is. That starts at 1:00, and I go watch it every year. Take my little golf cart from my bus and go watch them, and it's extremely safe. The guys that run that do that at a lot of different fairs and events, and so they know how to keep the kids safe.
Yeah. I'm excited.
They have their little helmets on, and it's really cute.
It is
the word I would use.
And it gets them ready for the next level if they want to be like Clay Walker and ride in the rodeo.
That's right.
So
kind of like Roy Rogers. He's a modern day Roy Rogers.
Wow.
I was going to give that as another hint, but
do we have another question? Yeah, if we want to give away some more VIPs, we'll be brainstorming on what we could ask. And Colleen Merritt, who is helping us, and she's with the city and does a great job for them, was mentioning like, hey, zip line, and then she said that the bait is provided by Boyd's One Stop for the kids fishing tournament, and then you need to bring a rod, just bring a something to fish with, and it's free. It's free for the kids to do that and participate as well. So here's another comment. This is from Mandolin. She said, I love that it's held at Highland Bayou Park. It's the hidden jewel of Lamarck. Would you? I have to agree with her. Would you agree on that?
I love Mac McGaffey Highland Bayou Park. It's perfect for what we're doing. The cook-off area is on solid ground, so they don't have to worry about the weather. It's a wide open space. I love the lake. I've personally fished there. There's some really huge fish in the lake, and people take advantage of that quite often. Of course, we have the picnic areas, the little gazebo deals for families to picnic, benches along the way. I do want to mention that the fishing tournament is named after Cowboy Jones, who was one of the originators of BioFest back when it was fair on the square in downtown Lamarck. He passed away and went to heaven about 4 or 5 years ago, but he was a huge BioFest proponent and promoter, and so that tournament is named after him, and it's just awesome. And so the lake is one feature, the picnicking, the sports courts. Mr. Jackson has a vision, and we support him in that vision to really fix up our parks in Lamarck. Like we've already redone the football field at Mahan. He's only been here 3 or 4 months. And we have a new press box, new concession stand, new scoreboard, new benches, new fence, basically a new field. And so the $2 park user fee that council passed in our budget will go towards procuring a bond. And this bond will give us a couple of $1 million to really spruce up our parks. We're very excited about that.
Here, Mr. Tink Jackson did comment. He said, and with our our parks master plan that is coming this year. That park is going to be even better with many improvements. So y'all were kind of on that the same wavelength as you were saying that he had already commented.
I won't say great minds think alike because he's a whole lot smarter than I am, honestly.
How long has he been in that position now? It's not, I mean, like a year.
Tink, how long have you been in this position?
Yeah, it's been pretty recent, and I've already seen like a lot of the development. And we had him come in, and he's awesome.
Yeah. Is he answering?
Not yet. There's probably a little bit of a delay.
4 or 5 months since May or so.
Okay. And one thing that I've noticed about him is that he's very open. If somebody has a concern on social media, he's going to go and answer yes. directly.
Which really is a blessing to me because, first of all, I am now the longest serving mayor in the history of the town where I grew up, which is kind of cool. But my first 2 or 3 years, I tried to answer all of those blog questions. And many times it would just become a never-ending conversation of they were right and I was wrong, and I would try to bless them into seeing the big picture. And finally my wife said, honey, you need to quit doing that because you're driving yourself crazy. Yeah. So now I have my own personal blogger who is the city manager, who simply replies with the facts. And so it doesn't get political like it does with an elected official. And it's really been a tremendous blessing and, quite frankly, a relief for me.
Yeah. How long have you been serving as the mayor now?
I just went into my 9th year in August.
And do you have plans to run again?
I'm going to announce right here on this show today that I'm running again for mayor in May of 2021.
All right. May of 2021. It seems like it's far away, but it's crazy how this year goes by so quick. And
the older you get, the quicker it goes, brother.
Yeah, man. Right now it's 10:32. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. We're talking to Mayor Bobby Hocking, the longest-serving mayor in Lamarck, Texas. You mentioned, being from Lamarck. What does that mean to you to be able to, give back continually?
Well, this is my second mayorship. First of all, I was the first mayor of Bee Cave, Texas in 1987, which is now the fastest growing small city in Texas, and just have so much money and so many shopping malls and so much tax coming in and new homes that they don't even know what to do with all the money. So my vision for Lamarck, what it means to me is that if that can happen in Bee Cave, and I mean, I woke up the day after the election, I was not only the mayor, I was the city manager, the police chief, the fire chief, the public works director, the trash guy, I was everything. And we had to put all that together in a short amount of time. And so that city has done very, very well. I feel like Lamarck can do the same thing. Why did I run? Why do I keep doing what I'm doing for $50 a month? Because it's my passion. As I drive around Lamarck each day, I see families and kids. And when I see these, especially these little guys, I see me. And everybody has a future, and everyone has a purpose. And so I believe that we can help facilitate our youth growing up to maybe being the mayor of Lamarck one day. Because I wasn't mayoral material, and I certainly wasn't pastoral material when I left Lamarck to go join with Stevie Ray Vaughan in 1976. But God has a great sense of humor.
Yeah, and that's awesome just to be able to come back. And I see, kids, and I meet people all the time in Lamarck, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of cool things, but especially like the kids and the young people. Yeah, I want, to have a platform like this and to be able to give back and inspire and have these kids dream, because they literally can, you never know like who's listening. You never know who's watching you, and just to always be that example and hopefully inspire that next generation, I believe is what it's all about.
Well, I'm always amazed at how much young people pay attention. I'll go to a football playoff game. Like once I was at NRG, and this young man, he looked to be about 15 or 16. he comes up and he sticks out his hand and he said, "Mr. Mayor, I just want you to know I appreciate what you do for our town." And I'll never forget that because it was just so random. You know, you got the excitement of a playoff game and there's popcorn and peanuts and all kind of stuff happening. And this young man took the time to come up the aisle and grab my hand and tell me that, and that meant a lot.
Yeah. You know, going back and looking at, you know, whenever you mentioned, you know, in the 70s and going and playing with, you know, with Stevie Ray Vaughan, leaving Lamarck, would you change anything about the way like life panned out? Would you have started maybe even like, hey, I'm going to stick around in Lamarck, or, you know, those experiences? Would you trade them?
Well, hindsight is always 20/20, but nope, I wouldn't trade a thing because the things I've learned and experienced helped me to be the husband and the dad and the grandpa and quite frankly the mayor that I am today. So, no, I wouldn't change a thing. And I've been able to travel all over the world singing in front of thousands of people, and that's pretty neat. And so, nah, I wouldn't change anything.
You know, now you don't even have to travel to sing in front of thousands of people. You just wait till Saturday in Bayou Fest. There'll be about 20,000 people come out, and we'll have the opportunity to hear the singing mayor.
Well,
Mayor Bobby Hawking.
You never know.
All right. Hey, this is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. I'm Gardy talking to Mayor Bobby Hawking. You know, whenever it comes to, you know, growth and development, I feel like Lamarck has a lot of potential. There's already growth going on and happening currently. I mean, how many housetops are going in, and what do we see in the next, you know, 5 years or so? I know the census is next year, and I think we're all going to be kind of shocked just to see some of the results. I mean, for Galveston County in general, specifically Lamarck.
I think after the census comes out, we'll probably be the largest we've ever been as a city in our 68 years or so, and excited about that. There's about 5,200 houses either on the ground or planned or being platted. We're looking for quite possibly a grocery store to come in soon, and a couple of hotels. Matter of fact, some of it may happen even close to here. So we're excited about the growth. We're excited, like you say, about the potential, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. We have a great council. We have probably one of the most diverse councils in Galveston County, and we work well together. Mm-hmm. And when one of us has an issue or quite frankly a concern, we all try to work together to resolve that.
Yeah. I'm excited. You know, a grocery store, a hotel, that just means jobs. You know, in jobs for young people, you know, grown-ups, elderly people, just jobs for everybody. I remember being a kid and, you know, 15, 16 years old, and I was ready to work, or like I wanted money. I wanted gas, you know, like, can I borrow the car? I want, you know, trying to find something to do, and there wasn't really anything that I could kind of go into at the time. But I see so much opportunity now, and a lot of it is, you know, like some in you know, the outskirts of Lamarck. And there's opportunity in Lamarck, but even more for these young people to come up and, hey, learn what it is to work and save their money and reach a goal.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, we're working towards that.
All right.
Sure.
And I feel like a hotel would be really cool too.
Yeah.
For sure. It's like some brand new hotel. So.
Oh, absolutely. It's very, very closer than anyone could ever imagine.
Hey, I just see Gayla Kelly tuned in. Shout out to Kelly's Country Cooking. That's one of my favorite places right here in Lamarck, right? I feel like it's like a, you know, if you're going down I-45 and you see the Kelly sign, it's just like you know, like, I don't know, it's a landmark.
Yeah,
we're at Kelly's. Hey, we're going to take a quick break on the FM, and when we come back, I think we're going to try and brainstorm and try and give some of those VIP, if we can come up with a question, maybe we'll throw that out there. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.
Pastor Sam.
All right. Facebook, what's up, fam? My dad's watching. Hey, Dad. He said Stevie Ray Vaughan, sweet.
Yep.
And there's some more. Tink Jackson said he's been in for 5 months, and he also has said, hey, Mayor loves the city, which I don't think anybody can deny that. Nobody can deny that for sure. So we are giving away some Kevin Fowler meet and greet passes. If you share this video out, comment why you would want to win those. Bayou Fest is this Saturday, so that's going to be the chance for you to go meet Kevin Fowler. Very cool.
We're going back on the radio, or we're just Facebook?
Right now we're on Facebook, but we will go back on the radio. I was going to let one of these play, and maybe we can come out with a thought for a question.
We could just say the first person to comment wins 2 VIP passes.
Okay, how about that? Whenever you say go or something like this, say, hey, the first person to comment now wins the...
Yeah, but do the Facebook people have an advantage now, since I just said that?
Well, no. Actually, they may have a disadvantage because there is probably about a 10 to 15 second delay.
Uh-huh.
So if they had it on Facebook and maybe they listened on the app or the 99.5 FM, then that would be the advantage, because they would hear it quicker on the radio or on the KHEA radio app, and then they'd be like, I want to win. They would say that. So they would have a little bit of an advantage. My wife texted me and said, hey, is there a possibility to buy like preferred parking? And I said, I don't think that there is, unless...
Actually, after... I think it's 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Tink can correct me. A carload of people can park at the park for $20.
Okay, so you can purchase parking, and that would be closer.
So it's like when you used to go to the Bio Drive-In and put 5 guys in the trunk. Just as many people as you can get in your car, it's $20.
Hey, that's what's up. The Bayou Drive-In, where was that at?
There were 2. It started on Highway 3 and then moved to I-45, actually right across the street here.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that there used to be a drive-in.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a popular place.
That's fun, man. And I've seen it on movies, but you would take like something, or you turned your radio. Is that what you did, or you brought something in the car? How would you hear it?
You pulled up by this post, and it had 2 big fat speakers about the size of that deal there. And you would take your side and clip it on your window.
Okay.
The only problem with that is Lamarck mosquitoes would invade your car. So they also sold like the picks that you would put on the dashboard. So you had the speaker going here and then the smoky pick going on the dashboard. And it was a great experience. I don't know how many people actually watched the movie, but I'm not going to sit in the church house and talk about that.
Man, maybe, I don't know, maybe they shouldn't bring back a drive-in movie.
I think it'd be great.
That'd be fun, huh?
Yeah. A lot of people would take blankets and sit on the hoods of their cars, and if you had a pickup truck, you could come in backwards and sit in the pickup bed. It was really cool.
That'd be fun. Maybe for, Bayou, I would say Bayou Fest, if y'all had like a giant screen out there, maybe, I don't know. But there's room out there if somebody wanted to do like a special event. That'd be kind of neat and fun.
Actually, Clay Walker does have a giant screen behind him on stage.
All right.
I don't think he's going to want to play any movies except his own.
Okay, yeah. All right, cool. Jazz said Facebook loves Lamarck. Yes, Facebook does love Lamarck. And then here's some other, there's free parking until 4 p.m. for Lamarck citizens.
True.
And then 1 p.m. for our friends from other towns.
Yep.
And then you can always, Colleen kind of got this in my head. And I heard her on the phone. There's always a free parking at Lamarck Bayou Fest. There's always free parking somewhere.
Yes.
There's a way to park for free.
Yes. I think parking at Gulf Greyhound and riding a comfortable bus is probably the way I would do it. But
yeah,
if you want to come and park there and have your car, $20 per carload.
Yeah, and I think she said that it was like a 5-minute wait for the shuttles, last year. That's the estimated wait.
And we didn't have as many. We have 10 this year.
Wow.
So.
All right, so let's go ahead and switch it back on the FM. Just be ready. Again, I would be listening on, maybe have your radio on 99.5 FM, and also watching on Facebook so you can comment as well. So here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now it's 10:44. I'm Gardy. I got Mayor Bobby Hocking here in studio, the mayor of Lamarck, the longest serving mayor of Lamarck. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing really good now.
Congratulations once again on your taco cook-off.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We had some of the Lamarck fire and EMS guys out there with the trucks. And so my daughter, she's 2. I look over, kind of scoping, just making sure everything's good. And I see her in the back of the EMS, and one of the guys is kind of just showing her around. But she had a blast. She was like, I want to go for a ride.
Well, actually, I just noticed coming in here that there's a fire truck and 2 ambulances at the school, and the kids are touring.
Yeah, they're doing a show
'Cause
and
I
tell.
pulled up to see if something was wrong, and then I saw the little kids coming out to tour, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah, they're doing a fire safety month thing, and I don't know, so that's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. They
That
looked
stuff's important.
excited.
You know, I love whenever there's events like that, and y'all had the hurricane huddle. It's like, hey, come and meet us before you need us. That was like one of the lines in
Sure.
in the script, right? But it's important because if you are going to, rely on these people and you have a relationship with them before, I feel like that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, you need to meet the people who are protecting you and get to know them. This is really cool that this microphone has this frame above it. So when I look at you, it's like you're on a screen. Have you ever noticed that? Crazy.
Yeah, sometimes
And I look like I'm probably in jail or something. But, hello, call my lawyer.
Get me out. Get the bail money ready. Yeah. Oh, I was talking to someone the other day, and during the break, we were talking about the drive-in movie theaters. But remember, whenever people used to call collect, like hit Zero Operator or 1-800-CL collect.
Absolutely.
I was trying to talk to some of my friends. They're like 22 years old, and I was talking to them about a Super Bowl commercial. And I was like, you remember those commercials? You call collect. They had no idea what I was talking about.
Right.
No idea. But it's crazy how fast times change, and I feel like the city of Lamarck has kind of kept up, especially with social media and some of the team that y'all have built around being open and transparent, streaming your city council meetings to YouTube. Mm-hmm. How important is that, to you in the city, I guess, to stay up to date, to communicate in a way that, all people understand?
Well, it's one of the most important things. First of all, to be transparent, because people want to know what's going on, not only with projects, but where their money's going. Also, just keeping people informed about weather events, etc., is extremely important, and Colleen just does a wonderful job.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we have our magazine, Inside Lamarck, and I think that comes out like Thursday or Friday. That lets people know about different events. It highlights employees that do a great job. As a matter of fact, last night at council, we honored Amanda Hobby, who works in Public Works, just for the great job that she does helping people with anything that concerns drainage or water or whatever. And so we do that at every meeting now. That's something Mr. Jackson brought with him, is to highlight employees that are commended or are recommended by citizens.
Okay.
Because if a citizen recommends you for doing something good, that means a lot.
Yeah, awesome. So, Lamarck Bayou Fest is this Saturday. It's free. You can go attend it. But I know there's some other cool events that are taking place in Lamarck, and there's always something. If you're looking for something positive to do in Lamarck, you can find it, or you can create it, if you need something.
Sure.
So I know there's the Fall Sweep, and then there's Magical Winter Lights. Can you talk a little bit about what those are?
I think the Fall Sweep is November 2nd, and I'm not sure of the time. I think it starts early in the morning and goes early afternoon, and that's where we go around and pick up trash and debris that somebody that's not as quite enlightened as Alana Brown or Deanie Barrett or some of our Clean City or Keep Lamarck Beautiful folks are, that we're able to scoop all that up in one day and get a fresh start. So that's neat. Magical Winter Lights starts in November, and I think it runs for 50-something days. And last year we had, I think they told me, 300,000 to 400,000 people come through that.
Wow.
So once again, we help sponsor that with hotel motel tax, they call hot tax, because it brings people to Lamarck to spend money and stay in hotels. And obviously, at an event like that, when you have 400,000 people coming through in 50-something days, you're going to sell a whole lot of double Whataburgers. Come on.
That's true,
and
yeah.
Waffle House is going to be packed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great event. We love it. It's beautiful.
It is.
It's gorgeous.
And you can see them already looking like they're getting, set up.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of, they call them lanterns. I always thought they were, inflatables. They're like, oh, no, these are lanterns. But it's awesome. I know whenever you walk in, at least last year, I like getting to one spot, and it's just like my own personal joke in my head. But you see all these lanterns, and then you see the Waffle House sign. I'm like, oh, it's the most beautiful lit up sign, here. But it's right there.
Yeah. Marty, that was a stretch, but I'm gonna give it to you.
You don't like Waffle House?
I love Waffle House. In fact, we actually went all over the world on social media and in newspapers, London, Hong Kong, everywhere, because of Miss Ebony Williams cutting up the guy's food because he had some arthritic hands or whatever.
Yeah.
And I named a day after her, and I got interviewed by newspapers from all over the world. It was really crazy. So, yeah, we have the most famous Waffle House in America right here in Lamar.
Right here in Lamar, Texas. It's a small world because...
Let's give away 2 VIPs.
Okay.
Next person that hits you up gets them.
All right, so we're waiting on you. Right now it's 10:50. We got about 10 minutes left. We're talking to Mayor Bobby Hocking, and we're waiting. Who wants those VIP tickets? So my mom, well, she didn't mention the VIP. She said, I want to pay to pumpkin with my grandkids. And that's something that I think like 3 years ago, Heather Finch said me. So Heather, I guess, Heather, you are the winner of those VIP tickets. So congratulations, Heather Finch. VIP tickets to Bayou Fest. And what does that entail one more time?
That entails a couple of beverages, a meal from Pit Stop, your own personal chair inside the tent, special seating right in front of the stage should you care to leave the tent. And you can pick those up by showing your identification at 1130 First Street, corner of First and Laurel, any day before 5:30.
All right. So, hey, Heather, that's you. Congratulations. The Economic Development Corporation building right there in downtown Lamarck. If you go by, just say, Heather, I'm Heather Finch. Show them your ID, and they'll be able to get those to you. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Absolutely. I know Heather, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. She, I believe, lives kind of down from where you grew up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Downtown Lamarck, it's going through a revitalization. Is that fair? There's like a project, and there's a beautiful building there, and some new businesses that are coming in. What's the overall vision? For that.
Well, the vision is, since the west side of the freeway is sort of growing on its own and doesn't need a whole lot of help. Of course, we built a new fire station and have given some incentives like that. But the east side of town, where I grew up and where I currently live, we want to see it revitalized with condominiums where you have your business downstairs and you live upstairs. Of course, we have the Art of Coffee coming in. They're supposed to be ready in about 4 weeks.
Awesome.
And then we're talking to a couple of different restaurants for the other end of that building. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a walkable, livable downtown where you have meeting spots and restaurants, coffee shop, and you can even live there and work there, and sort of a trendy place that used to be the hot spot in Lamarck but fell away for years. And now we're bringing that back, but we're bringing it back into the 21st century.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Was Fair on the Square there? Is that what you're mentioning? It used to be on the street
In fact,
there?
it was right in front of EDC. Yeah, right there on Laurel.
Tracy with DT's Small Events, she was mentioning how her dad was an entrepreneur and used to have a business in that area, and they used to do those, maybe probably like the Fair on the Square, and stuff like that. And I think she just joined Keep Lamarck Beautiful them as well, and she also has her other stuff going on.
Absolutely, she was my appointment to that committee, and I'd love to have 10,000 Tracy Steen. She loves Lamarck, and she's not just a talker; she's a real doer.
Yeah. If people want to get involved, there's so many different ways they can.
Absolutely.
And, like you said, if you had, thousands of her, that's what you want. People that are going to get up and be able to work and do and move towards the goal of.
Absolutely. There are so many, Tamara Smith, Alana Brown, Tracy Steens, and many, many others, Deanie Barrett, who have plugged in to do their part instead of just sitting back and waiting for somebody else to do it.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to share while you're here today?
I'd like to share 2 more VIP tickets to the person that can name Clay Walker's first hit I believe it was in 1993.
All right, so 2 more VIP tickets. If you know it, comment it. If you need to, I'd look it up real quick. You got to name Clay Walker's first hit, 1993?
I believe so.
Should be in 1993, and we're going to give away some VIPs. And we also have some Kevin Fowler meet and greets, which I'm going to go back after and be able to get that winner pick. So if you want to win those, let me know, and then also share this video out. Share it in a Facebook group. Share it on your timeline, and we're going to be able to make sure that Lamarck Bayou Fest is packed. Not that it needs our help, because it's been awesome every year since y'all have been involved and kind of make this a great event, family friendly. Make sure you go out there and find me. Say hi.
Yeah. He'll be the guy with the all access.
You'll be the guy with the all access. And
access, not excess. You don't want excess. You want access.
What is the title you said about the hog? What is it?
It's the chief hog of the trough.
So if you're looking for the chief hog of the trough, I think I've seen you before at Bayou Fest, going around on the cart, just making it happen.
Yeah.
I asked Colleen yesterday, and she told me no already. I said, hey, if I can bring my own cart, can I? She's like, no. I said, okay, that's fair.
I'll let you ride on mine.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm just going to jump on the back.
Yeah.
We'll go around. Because if the chief hog says yes, then the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Colleen may get mad at me, though.
Well, she'll have to get mad at me.
All right. So let me see. Hey, has somebody answered? Okay, so here's from Jennifer. She said, rumor has it. Is that correct?
I have no idea. We're going to have to Google it, because the city clerk just sent me that question, but she didn't send me the answer.
Oh, Crystal has the answer?
Crystal has it. And it wasn't that? Keep on going, folks.
Crystal, turn your mic on. Well, your mic is on, but it's hot now. So Crystal has the answer. Crystal, have you been to Lamarck Bayou Fest yet? I don't think you've been yet.
No, I've never been.
You should go.
Well, I have the answer.
All right. So let me see. No, and I have to apologize. Colleen said, y'all are making me sound like a meanie head. Uh-oh.
To who?
Colleen said that.
Oh, Colleen's the sweetest person ever.
Oh, great.
She's the sweetest person ever. However, she does keep things decent and in order. And you need that when you have 20,000 people running around.
That's true. So here's another one. It's what's it to you?
Yes, that is the correct answer. Congratulations.
Wow. Who was that?
That was Jennifer Rash again. So she's the one who first said rumor has it, and she said, what's it to you? So that's another pair of VIP tickets.
Yeah.
Get that Texas Pit Stop Barbecue, which we just dropped a Shine on Lamarck for Texas Pit Stop Barbecue today. So make sure that you go watch and share that out, and then go support these Lamarck businesses that have been that are doing some great things as well. So
wonderful.
Thank you, Mayor Hawken, for being awesome.
I want to give a shout out to our entire crew at the city for making this happen.
All right. And then go check out Lamarck Bayou Fest. It all starts at 8:30 8:30 Saturday morning. You can go attend. It's all free. Stuff for the kids, stuff for the adults, stuff for everybody. It's KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. KHEA. Bye, Facebook.
Awesome.
Y'all be good.